Hello and welcome back to the ministry, Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings. And today it's kind of more of a flow of things because I'm talking about age ain't nothing but a number. But I'm going to let the Lord lead how this rolls because I was looking at the article that I was going to do for today. And I actually am going to go watch this movie again because I haven't watched it in a while. But we are in a season where God is doing a new thing. And because God is doing a new thing, we are seeing an upheaval. And you can tell there is an upheaval because you're seeing it happen publicly. Look at how many relationships are suddenly breaking off. I was listening to a young woman, just Emily, and the Lord led me to her videos right after I came out of time with Him. And when He did, I tell you, the things that she's been saying, and when I timeline when she actually released the words that she released and the words I was releasing similarly at the same time on this channel, spiritually we were in the exact same place. So I know that spiritually God has been aligning these things. The people that the Lord leads me to listen to have been in alignment with what I needed to hear at the time I needed to hear it. But some of the stuff that I'm getting and gaining wisdom of right now are things that the Lord had been doing with me, but my mindset wasn't open enough to hear it then. And I had not grown to this level that I was allotted to get this breakthrough. But see, the same thing is, sometimes you have to understand, for people that speak spiritual words across these platforms, the ones that are authentic, we don't always hear the word that we're speaking. Meaning, I don't sit here and plan the word out. Okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to write this word out and it's going to be this and I'm going to say, no, it's literally rhema. Even the words that you hear me speaking when I'm speaking about movies and films, I do that off the cuff. The only thing I have notes on is I wrote down the sequence of events that occurred in the film. The Lord gives me the word that's associated with it in time. Meaning, as I'm speaking it, you are getting the word that He's showing me. In some cases, for instance, like the word that I released the other day, where it was a combination of an episode of a TV show and the word of God, how it reflected between the two, I had to sit down and write that because I had to make sure that I was getting all of the pieces in order. And I still didn't put the dream until I had to do that as an extra snippet, which was supposed to be part of that video, because I was given spiritual wisdom that I needed to add that to. You kind of need, sometimes you don't see it, you don't hear it, you don't understand it. And because you're speaking it, I've heard this, the coach that I listen to has a prophetic anointing, and she will always say, I don't remember what I said. Even another young woman that I listened to, she said, I don't know what I said when I said I had to go back and my words be blessing me. Same thing for myself. These words that I be releasing to y'all, they are from notes that the Lord gave me 5 years ago that I'm releasing in the time that I'm in right now. But the word was from 5 years ago, and even as I am releasing it, it is aligning in time because the words that are being released around me are in the exact same vein. I don't release the word unless it's in alignment with what it is that the Lord is showing me in that season. It could be the very same day. Perfect example, was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday's word I released. I was talking about identity. And I was talking about, in the article I was reading, I was talking about the Lord had put me in a heavy consecration. He had just did that to me. In reality, in time. He had just did that to me within a week. But the article I was reading, that was from 5 years ago. He put me in the exact same type of steps. He was repeating the same sequence. Sometimes our past gives us clues of what we doing right now. And it just shows that we're in alignment with what the Lord is showing us that needs to be done now, because not only will the past thing be almost identical, but what everybody else is talking about that are secure voices will be talking about in alignment with the exact same thing. That's how you know it's God. Yes, there are people that'll sit up there and they'll see somebody else's word and they'll just repeat the same thing that the other person said and say that it was from God. Let me tell you, if you ever hear me saying, oh, I heard this person say this and I heard this person say this, I'm making a note of something that was a confirmation for me that I believe that that person would be a good confirmation for you, because maybe the full word that they released might be a blessing to you in a different way. So I mentioned them. And I want to also give credit where credit's due. But I'm getting a lot of what I have to say off the cuff, in the moment. You ever hear me or see me in a video and I'll be like, oh God, he's giving me something. That's because he is. He is. So when I say certain things, it's like, when I started this, I never had the illusion, the thought, or the idea God was going to have me talking about marriage as much. The original articles I was talking about, I only had me about 5 or 7 articles in the original set that was about marriage. God has brought it back around to marriage so much since I've started talking about this stuff. And I'm like, God, I don't even really want to be talking about marriage like this. But a young woman, Queen Anita, she came out with a word and she's like, some of y'all ministries is going to have a lot to do with talking about marriage. Why? Because that's where he's taking it. That's where he's taking it. That's what people need right now, because of the warfare against the marriage, because of what's going on, because of the things that are being revealed about our God-ordained spouses. That's why I'm in the season I'm in. I'm preparing for what I'm preparing for, and I'm also preparing for becoming less visible. You'll see me when you see me. Because for one, if you're going into marriage, you want to give that marriage the time that it needs. And if it's a high caliber marriage, you really need to sit with it in its infancy, because you're like, we are from 2 different worlds right now. And this is going to breed into what I'm going to start talking about. We're from 2 different worlds, 2 different what have yous, maybe 2 different states of mind, 2 different things. God is doing a new thing. All these relationships we're seeing sever, and it's going to happen. We're going to see more of them. We're going to see more of this breaking up happen, especially in Hollywood. Because what God is doing is he's breaking up the fallow ground. He's breaking up the things that were not of God. He's separating the Jezebels from these good men, because God actually has already ordained women to be in those spots with these good men. That's going to up level, elevate, and transition people. Some of the spouses are well known, some of them aren't well known. Look at what happened with Ciara and Russell Wilson. Ciara is known, but she ain't Beyonce level known. She's friends with her, but she's a celebrity. Russell, if you didn't know football, you wouldn't really know him. But I remember seeing the interview that he did on one of his football things, and it was only the Lord that brought this in front of me, because I am never going to look at nothing in relation to football anyway. But I heard his interview with this guy, and I think it was a pastor he was talking to, and he was talking about how when he saw Ciara years before, he said, "That's going to be my wife." He knew then that he wanted her as his wife. And the Lord blessed that's the way it fell into place. It's an example. The Lord is putting these marriages together. The Lord is divinely aligning these things. Sometimes it's with age, sometimes it's with status, sometimes it's with, because not everybody gonna marry a celebrity. Wouldn't that be nice? But then at the same time, would it be nice? Think about that. Would that really be nice? Because people sit up there and had the observation of, ooh, look at the lights. Look at the stars. Look at the cameras. Look at the this. That's a perfect lifestyle. Heck no, it ain't. I do content creation and I'm frustrated with it on my level. Imagine being at that level, having to do music videos, having to do productions, having to be in trailers, and people are telling you this is where you need to be, when you need to be there, how you need to be there. But God always sends me to watching TV shows that's about this stuff. I just watched Queens last season. I used to love watching the TV show Star. Yes, it was ratchet. I watched the full first season of it. Empire. And I knew I wasn't watching it because of the show. It was because of the process you see happening in the background. I even used to watch the Braxtons because I used to love watching the processes that they went through to develop the shows, the music videos, the behind the scenes stuff, all of that stuff that they were doing. I didn't really care for all the drama. I actually stopped watching Project Runway for all of the petty drama, aside from the political stuff that they feed in there, whatever. But yeah, God is lining things up. No, some may not be called to marry a celebrity, but some may be called to marry a politician. Some may be called, perfect example, before I move past politician, there was a young woman who was called into politics. Tiffany Montgomery did this on her, you can actually find this, Covered by God. It was a couple months back. And she talked about how this woman was married to her husband, and the woman had was called into politics, and she knew her husband was involved in politics, so she was giving her husband, "Oh, this would be good for you," and her husband turned around and said, "No, this is good for you." And she said, and she knew the Lord had already been saying to her that he wanted her to take that position. So she literally ended up in a political office because of listening to what her husband said. And God. Because the Lord wasn't going to allow her to avoid the position at which he was trying to give her. God had some high level positions. Some of us think that we going into these marriages because, oh, well, it's going to be a public platform. God might use you and give you access. There was a word that was done at T.D. Jakes' church by Bill Whitman. I think it's his name, Pastor Bill Whitman. And he did a breakdown on Numbers 6 and 22, where he talks about how the Lord is giving you prominence, promotion, honor, assets, all of these types of things, because that's what it means. That when the Lord shines his light on you, which is going to be the public platforms in which he's going to put you in, you're going to have the ability to have access to change rules, laws, political things. You're going to have all of this stuff. God ain't just throwing you in there because he wants you to look cute in front of the cameras, because he wants you to be a Hollywood person. He might marry you to a politician. He might marry you to an industry director. He might marry you to a musician. He may marry you to an actor. He may marry you to somebody that is a high-ranking person in real estate. He might marry you to a PR representative. And it doesn't have to be a PR representative in Hollywood. It could be a PR representative for real estate. He might marry you to a multi-millionaire who's involved in one of these MLM companies. God is moving and arranging, rearranging, putting out candlesticks, raising up others. What you're seeing with these divorces is you're seeing room being made. I was completely shocked the other day when I saw that Tia Mowry and her husband were getting a divorce. I was like, what? But then I had to sit down and think about it. I was like, oh, but no. I had to think back to when I was watching the reality show. Wait, she and her sister couldn't even get along. It's like her attitude was very... You gotta go back and watch the show if you want to do that. But yeah, she had a very to herself attitude. And I'm like, was that a hint to say the type of woman that she was? Because she couldn't even get along with her own sister. And as we know, with reality TV shows, they only show about as much reality as they want you to see. Some of these people that we've thought were the kind, sweet, nice, perfect people with the greatest attitudes and all of that. And it's like, wait a minute. Are they the Jezebel? I used to think Journey Smollett was like so sweet and kind and nice and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm like, wait, God showed me that when her and her husband broke up, all of this stuff I started seeing on her Instagram. Everything shifted from kind, sweet, nice to completely different. But I noticed that after the time period in which I came out of my wilderness season, it's almost like everybody I thought was one way is coming out to be another. And that's what it is. The Lord is exposing the truth of these people's spiritual places, their characteristics, and who they actually are. And some of us have been misjudging certain celebrities as being, oh, they're so authentic, they're so sweet, they're so kind, they're so this. They the ones that's the Jezebel, and the people that we sit up there thinking because their music is this way, they actually the ones that are following God. They secretly the ones that was placed there. When God started showing me about Kim and some of the other entertainers, I was like, whoa, oh, so they actually are following the Lord. But see what's happening, and I saw this happen. A young woman was talking the other day about a certain celebrity that needed to come out from among them. And he's so wrapped up in some stuff. It's like God is pulling his children out right now. And they're going to need rest, recuperation, and CPR. And that's what the wives, when he brings the wives into their lives, is supposed to help them do. And they may be going through some things. Dr. G released a word a few weeks ago called the Atom something. It was a long title, but it says the Atom. It's the only one that she released that says the Atom something or other. But in it, she talks about some of these men are in headspaces and places that they just came out of some stuff that they are really tentative. Like, do I really want to get another relationship with anybody right now? Like, really? And some of them are set in their ways because they're older or what have you. Some of them are jaded. And some of us, that's perfect example. When I was talking about Enchanted, some of these men, the man was kind of jaded. He was like, how can you think that? How can you do that? How can you do that? But it's in him being around the character that was the one that he was supposed to be with that softened his heart. But he rejected her in the beginning, but he was in something else. It doesn't always, and it's not always going to look like what it's perceived to be. And it's going to be uncomfortable. Which brings me into the word that I was going to start talking about. God, as he's pulling down these old relationships and he's about to bring up God-ordained relationships, and he's already doing it into these statuses, places, and spaces, you're going to see odd couples. You're already seeing odd couples in these high-level places because of the fact that he's changing the guards. He's pulling the old down so he can raise his children up. So with that being said, age ain't nothing but a number, because you're going to see younger women with older men, older women with younger men. You're going to see ethnic backgrounds that look like they should never have been together, but because of the God within them, they're going to be together. You're going to see interracial relationships. You're going to see all of this type of stuff that doesn't look right. Which brings me to the film, How Stella Got Her Groove Back. That film depicts what it looks like to see an adjustment period. And maybe, just maybe, y'all have been told, God's shown you that you're supposed to be in a high-level relationship. And maybe, just maybe, the reason that you haven't entered it yet is because of the fact that the Lord is preparing you for the fact that you're going to have to come into that kind of warfare. If anybody remember how Stella got her groove back, she was an older woman that on the spur of the moment went on a trip with her best friend and ended up meeting this young guy. She, at first, what did she do? Reject him. Now, if anybody knows the real situation, that the way that actually occurred for what inspired the storyline anyway, she should have done that. Because she should have rejected him and never let him in her life. But we talking about the movie. In the film, she sees this guy and he's trying to get close to her. And her friend recognizes this and is like, just go have a fling. You don't do nothing. And she's like, I don't know. And she eventually ends up, before the end of the trip, taking the next few days, and she does what her friend told her to do. And she let this guy in. And with that having happened, it opens up doors for, she was kind of figuring, okay, it happened, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than this. But he was really in love with her and wanted to really be with her. And it brought about a series of events where, as it started to develop into an actual relationship, her friends started to be like, hold on, wait a minute. I thought that was a fling. What you mean that y'all actually trying to get it together like an actual relationship? Are you serious? When the Lord opens up the doors for these relationships, maybe you will be younger. Maybe you will be older. And they will be younger. But the person's environment, meaning family, friends, associates. Because some of y'all, and let's be serious, some of y'all, the Lord has been telling you that you're not going to have a simple court wedding. You may have an actual, go to the judge and do a court wedding, but you are going to have an actual wedding. It may not be immediately, but in the opening up of things, as the Lord allots you the ability to slowly let your families into it, people are going to start asking questions. You're going to be like, wait a minute. What you doing? Are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? And they don't even know. Y'all may already be married by the time that they meet you, but you ain't said nothing yet to them. And they're looking at you like, why are you dating this young chick? And the guy's older. Or why is she dating this young dude? Because the guy's younger. Why are you all of a sudden dating this person that's randomly? Or maybe the person's a celebrity and you're not. And it's like, what interest would they have in you? Because they know you for who they know you as. They don't know you for who that person's going to know you as. And vice versa. Their family knows you as this type of person. Why would you ever be dating a person like that? That's below your level, below your means, below your caliber. You understand what I'm saying? So your family starts seeing y'all and it's like, y'all just doing your thing and you're trying to enjoy your relationship, and other people are looking at it like, what? Why? And then they want to start getting in your ears. Why are you dating this person? Oh my God, why are you doing this? Oh my God, why are you doing that? Oh my God, why? And then they want to start getting in your ear, for one, because the enemy has been in their ear about, well, if this person stays there, then I can't get what I need to get done. So I'm going to start breathing word curses against y'all. And then they start looking at you like, because they already a little tentative. Because they're like, I don't know if I want to stay in this because this makes my status look funny. This makes my this look funny. I don't know because you're this way, and it's that, because they are having second thoughts and second guessing, but the Lord is trying to deal with them at the same time. It's like, I know you're dealing with something, but I need for you. And people are looking at y'all, and this is the thing. You are going to eventually have to, it's not so much that they're going to be integrated into your lives, because some of y'all, you may only be dealing with maybe their family because they're integrated with their family like that, but you're not dealing with your family as much as you were because you're at that level and they are not. So, but as the transition takes place, because God does this in amongst a multitude of many witnesses, you're going to have to transition into it. And as you're transitioning into it, it may be a little bit of confusion in amongst the beginning parts of it. You're going to be visiting their family. They're going to be visiting your family. And they're going to meet your family at certain things. And you have to make the determination. It's like, ugh. Are you going to bring him to the family reunion? Are you going to go to their gathering of whatever it is, especially with the holidays and holidays coming up? And maybe they're like, maybe you come here for Christmas or Thanksgiving, or maybe your family reunion, your family has their reunion in the middle of the summer, and it's like, okay, well, if you want to meet my family, then come to the family reunion. Da, da, da. We'll all go there. Or maybe we'll all go in such and such. You understand what I'm saying? And you're integrating. But as you're integrating, it's the confusion that comes with that because you got people judging y'all. But if you got good friends, and I'm talking about the good friends, the good wisdom people, they're going to say, stop worrying about everybody else and start worrying about yourself. Are you happy? Then be happy. Ignore everybody else and be happy. Towards the end of the film, he proposes to her, but your own element of sabotage may be trying to push the two of you apart. Each one of you have certain things, past issues, past what have you, and some of y'all may already be married when these issues come up because your families are bringing up these issues, projecting, provoking, all of these types of things, and you have to remember where your center is. Keep your relationship private and sacred, and you'll be all right. But the Lord is the one that's going to lead. Allow him to do so. This is the word for today. Much love, faith, peace, and blessings to you. Bye-bye.